Hi everyone, and welcome back to day 3 of Automation. I'm really happy to be joined today by DF Hart from Two of Harts. She's a writer, an author, sorry. She's also got her business Two of Harts. So thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
How are you finding the show so far?
So far, so good. This is my first, this is the second author event I've ever been to.
Yep.
The first one had about 70 people.
Okay.
I believe
quite
this one. Oh, yes. I think this one's got maybe like 1,800 people.
Yeah.
So it's quite a different experience. I think it's important, though, to attend these conferences because by and large, writing feels very insular. You know, we're at home, we're contained in our homes behind our keyboards, and it can feel very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's good for not only morale but productivity to regularly attend real life interactions with other people. You can form some great friendships, you can form some great networking opportunities, but to do that, you've got to be willing to leave your keyboard and your house and go to where your tribe is.
Yeah.
And, you know, as the banner behind us says, I found my tribe at Author Nation. So here we are. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic for meeting people. Have you, what are some of the good connections you've made so far?
Well, we'll circle back to this a little bit later talking about my business, but I actually do bookkeeping for authors. I have very little interest in getting into doing tax returns or tax advice or tax planning for authors. And I've been able to network with a couple of people here that one's a certified financial planner, one's a CPA.
Yeah.
And so we formed some maybe collaborative, they don't want to get into the bookkeeping side and I really don't want to handle the tax side.
Right.
So that's a springboard that going forward could be very mutually beneficial and also help our clients. On the writing side, I've met a couple of really, really cool, interesting people. They write in genres that I normally don't read, but now I'm going to just because of the interaction and hearing about their stories, and it's got my curiosity piqued.
Yeah.
So I definitely have at least 5 titles that I can think of off the top of my head that are going to be added to my to-be-read list.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
Expanding horizons, both for business and for personal.
And fun as well, yeah. Nice. So you did your talk yesterday?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
How's it go?
Well, I think.
Yeah.
I was talking about basically accounting for authors, which a lot of people, when they hear the word accounting, they're like, nope, nope, nope. You know, they kind of glaze over.
Yeah.
But you know, there's so many people that self-publish or get into the publishing industry, and you've got a story in your soul, and it's burning, and so you get it out onto the page. But a lot of people don't think past that point of publishing. But when you get your book baby and you put a price on it and you put it out for sale in a public marketplace, now you're a business owner, whether that was your original intention or not. And so there are some very basic fundamental things that every author needs to know to help them make smarter, better business decisions, save themselves some time and some money and some heartache. In this industry, everything's fast paced. There's a lot of stuff that's changing. There's always the latest trend. And if you don't have a solid handle on how your business is doing and you're just chasing trends, you can wind up with buyer's remorse because maybe it wasn't the right point in your career to make that investment of Russian translations or audiobooks, right? So if you go back and you look at the data and you get it very disciplined about, I'm going to look at my data, because you can't steer your ship where you want to go if you don't know where you've been.
Mm-hmm. And
so I try to bring that knowledge in plain English to the author community.
Amazing.
And that's basically what the talk was about yesterday.
So let's go through some of those takeaways. So
sure.
You're talking about making bookkeeping into like plain English. Yes. Mm-hmm. What does that look like in reality?
Yeah, so anybody that runs ads, whether it's a paid newsletter ad or a cost per click ad, needs to understand that you don't need to, it's cost per click ads are very common in this industry. And a lot of people already know how to calculate that. You take the money you spent, you divide it by the number of clicks your ad got, and that's your cost per click. And most people don't go beyond that point, and you really should. If you go a step further and you say, okay, how many sales resulted from this spend? You divide your investment by the number of sales. And if you do that math, sometimes you find out that it's actually costing you more per sale than you're making per sale.
Yeah.
And when you have that scenario, now you're relying more heavily on sell-through to try to make up that deficit, and it's a very slippery downslope. Cost per click ads can get away from you easily anyway.
Yeah.
So I encourage people that this ad I'm running it and it's only 6 cents per click. That's great. Well, take dig deeper, because that doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah. So you're thinking about, essentially, you're thinking about the return on investment, not just the cost per click. You're thinking about how's that actually impacting my overall business.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you spend $75 on a cost per click ad and you have 525 people that click that call to action button, that's 14 cents a click. That's really good.
Yeah.
But if only 20 of those people go on to buy your book, now you're spending, you take that $75 investment divided by 20 sales, it's costing you $3.75. And if you've got a $4.99 book that you're selling, you're only getting $3.49. So you're upside down a little over 20 cents with every one of those 20 sales.
Yeah.
And it becomes a snowball effect that you really can't overcome. So taking the time to go a couple of steps further can also help you with things like, is my book price too low?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of that is very genre specific. There are some genres that are more price sensitive. I write crime fiction. Right now, my books are $4.99. I could probably get away with pricing my ebooks at $5.99 or even $6.99. I think the genre market will tolerate that.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you do some of these go further calculations, you're really not going to know, and you're really harming yourself on more than one front, not just from money outgo, but from potential money, future money earned.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
In the talk, did you get any good questions from the audience?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. We talked about read through and sell through, which are two different things, by the way. And one of the questions that was asked was, should you, if you write multiple series, should you calculate your read through like everything lumped together? And my answer is no, because you may have things going on with Series A that are specific to Series A, like you've got a book featured deal on book one, for example, and your B series doesn't have any of those weird things going on. So it's really good not to commingle your series and your read through. You want to calculate your read through for one series at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't commingle. Also, you don't need to commingle your formats for read through or for sell through. Price point doesn't matter for read through, because a unit moved is a unit moved regardless of price, currency, geography. But where it makes a difference is in sell through, because ebook, audiobook, hardcover, paperback, large print, those are all at different price points.
Yeah.
So you really need to not commingle your formats when you're doing your calculations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I always tell people to try and break down their sales like by the type of book they've sold, especially if you're doing ebook on Amazon. You've got the KMP Red, you've got the paperback, all those things. You need to break it down.
Oh, and another good tip for your audience.
We've been brought cakes.
We've been brought cookies.
Yeah, thank you.
We are in the right spot. Thank you so much. Look at that.
There you go.
See, from the Alpha Nation, they feed you cookies. Important note for KU, for people who have books in KU, you first have to convert your page reads into units before you can do your read through or your sell through. So the way you do that is you take the number of your total page reads, you go onto Amazon, onto your product page, and it'll tell you the approximate number of pages in your book. That's the number you need. You divide that number into your page reads, and that gets you to units. It's usually a decimal book. It usually is there's a couple of numbers after the decimal point, because of course it is, right? So you just round up or down to the nearest whole number, but now you've got your units figured out, and now you can proceed with your read through calculation.
So when you're working with authors, do you create a profit and loss type document?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
No, absolutely. We use a custom chart of accounts that is still GAAP compliant, still flows nicely to the allowable and acceptable expenses for our industry. But we customize it because, for example, when our general ledger, we have sales, sales ebook, sales paperback, sales large print. So we're able to track sales by format. And then we also take more of a production approach to our tracking. So that's where you get into, I'm tracking not just this series, but each title in the series as a non-inventory product.
Yeah. So
we're able to slice and dice our customers' reporting, where they could say, oh, book 2 of this series, I had a 200% increase in paperback sales this month. And that becomes very useful from a budgeting and forecasting standpoint. It also becomes very useful from maybe I need to up my marketing spend this month or this quarter. Mm-hmm. And it just really helps with a lot of forecasting based in real-time data that makes your forecasting a lot more reliable, a lot more accurate, and a lot more realistic, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
The other thing I try to train my authors that I'm working with on is, don't forget your costs of doing business. Those are anything that don't tie directly to the production of a book. book funnel subscriptions, plotter subscription, auto crit subscription, scribe count subscription, all those things add up. And you have all those expenses, whether you sell one book or a million, but you still need to track them because they've got to be included in the expenses to get to your true net profit earnings.
Yeah.
And the third thing I tell my authors is don't commingle business and personal finances.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to set up a business checking account. You just need a separate account that all of your business and only your business transactions flow through. The quickest way to give your accountant or your CPA an aneurysm is to have one account that commingles all of your expenditures, personal and business, because that becomes a very tangled web that you have to unweave at the end of the year to make sure that you're as audit proof on your tax returns.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, you're clearly the expert on this.
Now, I will throw the caveat, I am not a CPA. I have no desire to be one. But
CPA is?
A CPA is a certified public accountant that's here in the U.S. Yeah. And it is the highest designation that you can get in the accounting world. And they also are pretty much automatically qualified to prepare and file your tax returns for you.
Yeah.
If you're shopping for a CPA, the one thing I would advise your listeners or your subscribers is to try to find one that has at least some knowledge or experience with the publishing industry. There are things specific to our industry that you're not going to find in any other industry because so much of our income is royalty, not actual sales of product. It's basically a royalty concept. Permafreeze, waiting to get paid for 90 days for the sale of a paperback book, unless you're doing it in person at a show like Author Nation. All those things are specific to our industry. And there are a ton of CPAs and a ton of bookkeeping firms to choose from out there, but not all of them are going to have publishing industry knowledge. Yeah. So it's important to pick one that understands the ins and outs of our industry to give you the best service for your money.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's getting a little loud in here. Everybody's excited about the cookies.
Yeah, everyone's excited about the cookies. They're excited about bookkeepers.
Most people's eyes glaze over when you say they hear the word accounting, but it's an important facet of our business that I think is severely underrepresented.
Yeah, of course. So what level of authors do you usually work with? Is there a sort of a place they need to get to before they would speak to a bookkeeper?
I've got a client currently that's got one book out, and I've got another, and she's got one book out, and she's only got ebooks so far. And then my biggest client has got 75 titles, and she's got ebook, paperback, hardcover, audiobook, and she's working on translations. Yeah. So I would say big or small. If you need me, reach out and let me see if I can help you.
Great. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Just before we go, obviously we're in Las Vegas. Have you had a chance to do any Vegas-y things whilst you've been here? Have you won any money? Have you lost some money? Have you
I played video poker a couple nights ago in remembrance of my dad. My dad died in 2019. He loved video poker, and he was really good at it. Unfortunately, I did not learn his secrets before he passed on, but I played a few rounds the other night in honor of him.
Oh, nice.
And above and beyond that, I prefer to stick to slot machines.
Yeah.
There's more bells and whistles, bonus features, yay. But yeah. But I've actually tried to steer clear of most of that this trip so I could be focused on the conference itself. But yeah, if you want to come hang out and meet really interesting people, fun people like Teddy, and do some networking and have amazingly fresh baked cookies, then please come to Author Nation next year.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to have you on the show again.
Yeah, and, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll speak soon.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance Podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales but are not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1.